Welcome to Mindful Moments. Nourish your mind on the go. This audio uses AI narration to present our original book analysis. Today we're diving deep into Moshe Kessler's memoir, The Boy from Block 66.
Oh, this one is powerful.
It really is. Get ready for a journey through pre-war Czechoslovakia, the horrors of Auschwitz, and the incredible resilience of the human spirit.
You know, it's fascinating how Moshe's childhood in Barahovo, with its close-knit Jewish community, almost makes the impact of the Holocaust hit even harder. It wasn't just this loss of life, but the shattering of the whole world.
Right. Reading about that family compound, the pecan tree, the vibrant community life, it really sets up such a stark contrast to what's coming.
Yeah, and that contrast highlights just how insidious that Nazi persecution really was. It wasn't an overnight change, it was this gradual chipping away at freedoms. What started as seemingly minor restrictions just escalated into outright brutality.
It's like the frog in boiling water. You really see this disbelief in Moshe's family. They're clinging to this hope that things will go back to normal.
Yeah.
But then, the annexation of the Sudetenland, Hungary's occupation of Carpatho Russia, and suddenly anti-Semitism is right at their doorstep.
It's a turning point, and you see it especially when you compare the family's denial with the foresight of Moshe's cousin, Ilona, who flees to Budapest.
Right.
She recognizes the danger when so many others around her just remain blind to it.
And the story of the ghetto is just heartbreaking, especially that Passover celebration with no matzah.
Mm-hmm.
It just speaks volumes about how their world was disintegrating.
Yeah.
And then the ultimate deception.
Oh.
Deportation to Auschwitz,
Yeah.
disguised as these labor camps.
Yeah.
Lies. It's chilling.
Moshe's arrival at Auschwitz-Birkenau, the selection process, the dehumanization, the tattooing, it's like a masterclass in systematic cruelty.
And he survives by lying about his age.
Right. Shows you just how thin that line between life and death really was.
Right. Absolutely. And then it's just one brutal experience after another. Auschwitz I with its constant hunger and threat of selection, then Laodicea, where the cruelty of that camp commander, Horst Cherinsky, is just an example of that arbitrary terror they lived under.
What's remarkable is how Moshe adapts. He's not just enduring the suffering.
Yeah.
You see him showing incredible resourcefulness, like avoiding the bomb shelters during those air raids on Buna.
It makes you wonder, was that a calculated risk or just pure desperation? Was he so worn down that he just didn't care anymore?
I think it shows just what toll living under those conditions takes on you. It can erode your most basic instincts for survival.
Yeah, it's powerful. And then there's the death march from Buna. Freezing temperatures, those relentless marches, the constant fear of being shot, it's almost unbearable to even read about.
But even in that chaos, there's these little glimmers of humanity. Moshe and Shani's reunion, it really underscores that power of human connection. Even in the darkest times, they find strength in each other, this shared determination to survive.
And then they arrive at Buchenwald. It offers a brief respite in a way, because there's no gassing, but the conditions are still horrific.
That's where we meet Antonin Kalina, this Czech prisoner who becomes a savior for Moshe and hundreds of other children. He creates this safe haven in Block 66. He uses his ingenuity to shield them from the worst of the camp. He even convinced the Germans that the block was under quarantine for typhus to avoid those roll calls.
It's a testament to the power of compassion. To think that someone like Kalina could exist in a place like that, it really gives you hope.
And it raises a big question. What would drive someone to risk their own life to save others under such extreme circumstances? Where does that level of selflessness even come from?
Then finally, Buchenwald is liberated. But, as Moshe describes it, it's a bittersweet moment. There's this caution, this lingering fear.
Right. They come out of hiding, but those psychological scars, they're deep. There's this feeling of numbness, a real struggle to process this newfound freedom. That trauma sticks with you, even when the physical chains are gone.
The journey back to Bergsess, it's just the start of a very long road to healing and rebuilding.
Yeah.
And that encounter with his cousin, Moshe Lazovitz, that simple meal of pasta with poppy seeds, it emphasizes how important those small moments of human connection are.
Yeah, they're reaching for normalcy in a world that's been turned upside down. And then he finds out his brother is dead. The encounter with that neighbor who stole from his family, it's such a complex mix of emotions. It really highlights the challenges of coming back to a life that's simply gone.
Yeah, his reunion with his mother is both joyful and sorrowful, especially when he learns his father died on the very last day of the war. It's a cruel twist of fate that just underscores that lasting impact of the Holocaust. Even after liberation, the pain continues.
It really makes you think about how that trauma ripples through generations.
Moshe's choice to immigrate to Israel with his mother, is a powerful new beginning. It really speaks to that resilience of the human spirit, rebuilding a life after such profound loss. Serving in the IDF, finding love with Eva, building a family, these are acts of defiance against everything that tried to destroy him.
You could say he's reclaiming his humanity piece by piece, but the fact that he stayed silent about his experiences for so many years, it speaks volumes about the depth of that trauma.
It's fascinating. What makes someone break that silence? After all those years, what makes him finally document his story?
That's what I find so captivating about the boy from Block 66. It's not just about survival, it's about the painful, complex process of healing. It's about coming to terms with the past and learning to live with those memories.
It's a story that pushes us, challenges us to confront these uncomfortable truths about humanity. It makes us examine our own capacity for both good and evil, to think about how we would respond to unimaginable adversity.
Moshe's life is a testament to the power of the human spirit to endure, to heal, and to find meaning, even when faced with the darkest chapters of human history.
Absolutely. We've only scratched the surface of Moshe Kessler's story. To really understand the depth and complexity of his experience, you need to dive into The Boy from Block 66 yourself.
And to really understand it, you have to hear Moshe's own words.
Absolutely. His voice is so powerful. One of the things that really stuck with me was his description of serving in the IDF.
The way he talks about putting on that uniform, holding a weapon for the first time, it gave him a sense of empowerment he hadn't felt in years.
Like he was finally taking back control, asserting his right to defend himself and his people after years of being completely powerless.
Exactly. And it really speaks to the deep psychological wounds left by the Holocaust. So many survivors felt vulnerable, stripped of their agency.
So serving in the IDF was almost a way for Moshe to heal, to find a sense of purpose in this new homeland where he could finally feel safe and secure.
It's a powerful example of how service can be a path to healing from trauma, a way to reclaim your strength, find meaning in a world that's been shattered.
His story also touches on this complex relationship between memory and forgetting. He talks about how he didn't speak about his experiences for years. He buried that trauma deep inside.
It's a common coping mechanism, a way to shield yourself from the pain of the past.
But eventually he realizes that silence isn't the answer.
He recognizes the need to confront those memories, to share them and preserve them.
And his decision to write his story is such a powerful testament to the power of memory.
It's a way of connecting to his past, of making sense of those experiences, and ensuring that the lessons of the Holocaust aren't forgotten.
What really struck me was that contrast between his idyllic childhood and the horrors he faced during the Holocaust.
It shows you how quickly things can change, how a society can descend into barbarity.
He describes this vibrant Jewish community in Barahovo with their schools and businesses, synagogues. It was a whole world that the Nazis just destroyed.
It's a chilling reminder of how fragile civilization can be, how hate and intolerance can just erode the very foundations of a society.
It's a warning from history, a reminder that those same forces that led to the Holocaust are still present in the world today.
We have to remember what happened and make sure it never happens again.
Moshe's relationship with his mother was also very moving.
Their bond was truly tested during the Holocaust. Separated at Auschwitz, not knowing if the other was even alive.
That agony of separation haunted him throughout his time in the camps.
And then that bittersweet reunion after liberation, the joy of seeing his mother, but then that devastating news about his brother.
It just underscores the terrible impact on families, torn apart, leaving behind a legacy of grief and trauma.
But it also shows the incredible power of family love, how it can sustain us through the darkest of times.
His story also offers insights into the psychology of surviving something so traumatic.
He talks about how he coped, about emotional detachment, compartmentalizing his experiences just to survive.
And the guilt he felt for surviving when so many others didn't. Survivor's guilt. It's a heavy burden to carry, that feeling that you shouldn't have lived when so many others died.
His story is a call for compassion and understanding for survivors. Their experiences have shaped their lives in ways we can never fully comprehend.
And his description of liberation was so powerful. You'd expect this overwhelming joy, but he talks about feeling numb.
It's a normal reaction to trauma, that emotional shutdown. It's a way of protecting yourself from the intensity of what you've been through.
He describes walking out of those gates into the sunlight, but still feeling trapped in a nightmare, unable to process what had happened.
It shows that liberation was just the beginning of a long road to recovery.
But Moshe's story also emphasizes the importance of hope.
Even in those horrific camps, he never gave up believing that he would be free again, that he would rebuild his life.
It's a reminder that hope can be a powerful force for good, motivating us to keep going and believe in a better future.
Moshe's story is a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. It's a story that will stay with you. To really understand it, you have to read The Boy from Block 66 for yourself.
You can find a link in the show notes. And be sure to subscribe to the channel for more deep dives like this one.